Hey everybody, Max Bultman and Corey Pronman from the Athletic Hockey Show's Prospect Series. And Corey, Leo Carlsson is putting up uncommon numbers for a draft eligible in the SHL this year. What has allowed him to do that at such a young age in a men's league?
I think it's just the combination of his elite skill. I mean, this guy has incredible puck skills. He's shown he can beat SHL defensemen regularly with his one-on-one ability. He's very intelligent with the puck. He has great vision. Yeah, he already showed on a good SHL team at such a young age. He could be the flank guy on their top power play unit. Like I said, great offensive instincts, vision, skill, and he's big and powerful, and he creates a lot in the interior already at such a young age versus men. So there's a lot of positives going for this guy that makes him such an appealing prospect and a guy I think has a chance to be a star forward in the National Hockey League.
I noticed you said forward. He's been playing on the wing in the SHL, but a lot of people holding out hope that there could be a center in there just because of how valuable centers are. How do you go about projecting this when a guy, obviously it's not uncommon to see talented forwards play on the wing and then move back to center later in their career. How do you go about projecting a guy like Carlsson's position?
It's difficult because we haven't seen him play center really since the first half of the 2021-22 season when he played at the J20 level in Sweden. But even when he's played international hockey at the junior level, whether it's the Sweden's under 18 team or their under 20 team, he's been a wing. In the SHL, exclusively he's been a wing, although that's a very high level and is not uncommon for true centers to play the wing when they start off in the SHL. So it's difficult. I think to talk to people around the league, you get 50-50 opinions on whether they think he'll be a full-time center or full-time wing in the NHL. You know, you can make a comps to maybe Matt Boldy or Mikko Rantanen in terms of the kind of player he is. But I think there were some people would argue there's some analogies maybe to him and Pierre-Luc Dubois' trajectory. When Pierre-Luc Dubois was drafted third overall by Columbus, he was a full-time winger in the queue. And then they drafted him and they said, he's big, he's competitive, he's physical, he has really good hockey sense. We think we can make him a center. And they did. And I think there is kind of that train of thought with some in the NHL with Carlsson is that I know he hasn't played center consistently, but he has the attributes to play center. And just like you said, how valuable centers are, maybe we can turn him into one, even though, like Dubois, he's not the most amazing skater in the world.
At various times over the course of this draft season, there have been conversations, him versus Fantilli. There's certainly the question of, do you take him or do you take the risk with Matvei Michkov given his contract status? How do you see him fitting into kind of that group in the top four?
In terms of him versus Fantilli, it's an interesting debate. I think there are definitely some in the NHL who believe he is a superior player. I think it's a minority opinion, though. I think most believe Fantilli is the better player just because he's a lot faster than Carlsson. And I think while Carlsson has a little bit better puck play, a little bit more instincts with the puck, I don't think that gap there is significant enough when you consider the skating differential and just how. And I think while Carlsson competes well, he is not like Fantilli. Fantilli will take your head off. And, he's, a really good two-way, highly physical player. So I think that's where the gap goes to Fantilli in my mind. Carlsson versus Michkov is a really interesting debate because Carlsson's game is built around his skill and his hockey sense, kind of like Michkov is. But I think Michkov is superior in him in both of those areas. And you could argue even by a significant margin. But Carlsson is a 6'2", 6'3" forward, and Matvei Michkov is quite undersized and obviously has all those risk variables with his KHL contract and the fact that he plays in Russia, given the geopolitical factors of the war between Russia and Ukraine. I think Michkov is a superior hockey player. I would even argue he is a significantly superior hockey player. But I can feel rather confident that in 2 or 3 years, Leo Carlsson will be in your lineup. And within maybe the next 2 to 4 years, he'll be making a significant impact in your lineup. I cannot say the same thing about Matvei Michkov.
You mentioned the timeline. Feels like the kind of the soft trend over the past few years has been toward top picks taking an extra year, not needing to rush quite so quickly to the NHL. Given kind of the somewhat unprecedented, at least recently, success Carlsson's had in the SHL, do you see him making the jump right away to the NHL, or do you think they kind of take their time with him, whoever drafts him?
I think he probably needs one more year, whether it's in the SHL, the American League, wherever, probably the SHL.